Hey y'all, it's Andy here, and I have decided to make the spring zodiac shift readings entirely free this season. I don't want there to be any paywall between us when the astrology is so wild this spring. So the shift readings for all zodiac signs for the spring season will be posted in their entirety here on YouTube and on my website, unseenhintstarot.com. You can access them either place. Now, these readings are meant to carry you through the entire spring season. So it's one reading for the whole spring. It drops at the spring equinox. I recommend watching it at the beginning of the season so you can kind of get an idea of the themes that might be showing up for your sun, moon, rising, perfection sign, Venus, maybe, since Venus is going retrograde, whatever you're tracking in your own astrology chart this season. Find the corresponding reading, watch it at the beginning of the season to get a little preview as to what your spring shift might be. And then midway through the season, maybe around April, check back in with the reading, rewatch it, because you'll be able to bring your lived experience of the actual spring, however it's playing out in your life, to that reading, and I guarantee it's going to hit different. And then at the end of the season, you'll look back and watch the readings one more time to connect the dots as to how you have actually shifted throughout the season and get that beautiful hindsight magic. It really is the best part. Okay. So happy spring. It is my gift to you, and enjoy the shifts. Okay, Libra, let's get into your spring 2025 shapeshift reading, where we look at the shape you're shifting out of, the shape you're shifting into, and what that shapeshift looks and feels like for the spring season. I've got the Queer Tarot here. Then we're going to use the Slow Holler Tarot to clarify and finish up with the Poesis Oracle. Okay. All right. What is the shape that Libra is shifting out of this spring? What's the shape you're shifting out of, Libra? Oh, wow. Justice. There's your card. That's very interesting. Virgo got this as well a couple days ago. I mean, justice, there you are holding the Libra scales, this like need for correction in order to find balance, homeostasis, to right a wrong. Maybe there's just a really strong focus on justice this spring. Okay, let's just put a pin in that. The shape you're shifting into, Libra. So maybe this is less... Are you taking justice into your own hands? Right? Like this, the Page of Swords just sort of looks like they just took the sword from this like authority figure, from the king or whatever, from the courts. There could also be this particular Page of Swords right now in this reading is speaking to me of like feeling critical of the justice systems, or feeling critical of like actions that have been taken towards correction that maybe like aren't actually righting the wrongs. I mean, Libra, because it's got this focus on justice and balance inherent to its sign, like it is part of its agenda is justice, fairness, balance, equality. And this could be you sort of taking a critical stance against like the inequities that you are seeing and saying, hey, that's not balance. Okay, what does this shapeshift look and feel like, Libra? Nine of Swords. Super stressed. There's some, okay, let's look at it together. So it's like this larger idea of fairness, equality, equity, balance is keeping you up at night, you know? Like, it's the stuff of nightmares. I mean, like, for those of us in the United States living through what we are currently living through, and who knows what that will be by the time this reading gets to us in the spring. This is like the weight of it, the weight of the injustices that are happening and the systems that are in place that are supposed to uphold checks and balances. It's like watching those remain ineffective, at least up until this point. I'm doing these readings at the beginning of March. It's not working. Okay, the system's not working, and it's bringing it feels nightmarish with the Nine of Swords. This is the stuff that just wakes you up in the middle of the night in a cold sweat. It is stress, it's worry, it's anxiety, and it makes it feel like, Libra, like, okay, what is my personal role here? What can I control? Can I do something? Can I get in there? Can I fight this fight? Can I enact any kind of justice? And maybe it's got you on the defensive. Maybe it's got you feeling really edgy, really like nervous system activated. That stress has you kind of like ready to swing that blade at any moment, like ready to fight for what you believe is fair, is right, is correct, is just, is equity. I mean, Venus retrogrades throughout history have coincided with the civil rights movements, women's marches, women's suffragette movements, protests. And here we are. You know, Venus being your ruler, Libra, when that planet goes retrograde, in your opposite sign, no less. Venus in Aries, Venus likes to be in Libra because Libra likes things to be copacetic and balanced and harmonious and likes everybody to get along and everyone to get their fair share. And when that's not happening, Venus in Aries is triggered. Venus in Aries is like feeling attacked and needing to fight back and needing to fight for what they believe is fair. And there is this sort of like this, maybe the stress gets to the point where you're ready to pick up the sword and you're ready to fight for your ideals and your values, which is largely what Venus retrograde brings to us all, is the gumption, especially in Aries, to fight for what we think is right and valuable and good and worth fighting for in the world. Okay, clarifying cards. We're using the Slow Holler Tarot. It's getting personal. I think that's the shape shift from like this larger sort of like abstract almost thing that's happening in systems that are bigger than you. Like the concept of justice lands in your hands. It's like it becomes much more personal. So it's not this like figurehead up here with the big sword. It's like, no, actually I'm holding the sword. So it could be like your role in the larger things that are happening, Libra, but it could also be that this same sense of injustice and imbalance is hitting your personal life. in a way that like you can actually enact a lot more control over that kind of thing. It's like, what's been worrying you? What's been keeping you up at night? What's been so stressful for you? And really all these swords here, like the crux of this is communication, is using your voice, is making your experiences known to others or known out in the world. Taking a stance is Page of Swords. Is actually can also be a really great way to quell that sense of helplessness that wakes you up in the middle of the night. Okay, let's get to clarifying. I'm just gonna see where the cards land. Help us further understand the shapeshift for Libra this spring. The focus is in one area of your life. Like it just seems this like consistent sword presence. It's just like, this is not necessarily, there is a subject of great importance. Maybe a singular subject of great importance. The Visionary of Stones, Queen of Pentacles, is like feet on the ground. Feet on the ground. The feet become these two houses. Which is sort of speaking to me of like looking at the foundation of it. What is this standing on? What is this built on? Are the materials sound? Yeah. Okay. Just the precipice. Neptune at the very end of Pisces, about to shift into Aries this spring, which ushers in just like a whole new era for us collectively. If you've been watching the episodes of the astrology podcast that have been talking about this, I know I am. Love the pod. Anyway, Chris Brennan and Austin Coppock have been talking about Neptune shifting signs, which only happens every 14 years, is like the collective dream shifting. But because it's shifting into Aries, we get this really stark shift from like the dream in Pisces being like spiritual expansion and togetherness and like peace, and then shifting into Aries, which the collective dream turning into like elevating the warrior spirit, like fighting spirit, things that need to be fought for, things like this. But because it's shifting with Saturn, there's like this, Austin Coppock talked about it as like a bubble bursting. And this reading is like just talking to me about the bubble bursting this spring in a way that like cuts us. Maybe this is more of a collective reading, but feels really personally impacting for you, Libra. Like it cuts you down from feeling stuck, feeling like you can't do anything, or feeling like you're sort of like on the precipice, the limbo of it all. Neptune finally like making that shift and moving into Aries March 30th, along with the Aries eclipse, the final in that series, I think is the last kind of straw that kicks things that sort of sends us into this, whatever this portal is. But I think it's a shift at least out of the limbo of worry, fears, anxieties, waking you up at night, feeling helpless, feeling, because this person is bound by ropes, like feeling helpless to do anything about it. The bubble is, the collective bubble is bursting. There is no more like fantasy illusion about it. Like this is, it is like grab the sword and go, or speak the truth now, you know? So help me understand Page of Swords. Yeah, I just keep hearing feet on the ground. Yeah, the awakening. Geez, this is wild. This just came out for the Leo reading, this exact combination, which could be talking about Mars moving through Leo and like retracing its retrograde steps out of Cancer and into Leo back to its station degree, which I think was like 6 Leo back in December. And everything that's been happening in the United States government has been happening since Mars stationed retrograde. So Leo, something about Leo. The Leo reading has this exact energy off the precipice and into the awakening. Like, this story, this exact shift story right here, from this like sort of abstract system that is unjust, that is keeping you up at night with worry, fears, anxiety, becoming something that you feel you can actually speak to and like hold in your hands and take action towards. It's this journey of like the Queen of Pentacles just sort of like enjoying herself in her garden, maybe like feeling very like rooted in place, to realizing like the structure is actually not there, but feeling sort of tied up and helpless to do anything, to then like bam, the awakening. This sort of like collective, maybe wake up call, or definitely, since this is your reading, like personal wake up call in some way. Okay, tell me more things. Yeah, this 5 of Stones free fall. It is a maybe material, economic, free fall. Hopefully not, but the five of Pentacles puts you in this space of like, I mean, the armadillo is going, it has this really thick shell, so it has like something that it's going to fall onto, and it's, you know, but everything is sort of just cracked open. All the geodes that were once solid are newly cracked open and free falling. Again, this idea of the bubble bursting is really clear. And then we got the star, which is just this like spotlight. For some reason, I'm seeing it as like a searchlight. I hate that. But it's this spot, it's this like illumination of something very specific from this place of higher calling, higher purpose, which is what the star symbolizes as like that guiding light in the sky, is illuminating something very specific with the precipice. And that is that what we thought was this comfortable place of justice and balance that we could rely on or fall back on is actually not there. There is even less balance than we thought. It's like that kind of thing. We're realizing like you thought you had savings, but like that it's actually, there's no savings. There's nothing to there's nothing to fall back on maybe. is the feeling, which is incredibly stressful, Nine of Swords. And it's leaving you sort of in this limbo of what do I do next? But there's this awakening that's coming. Okay. The Devil is here for liberation. You're getting a lot of major arcana cards. There's the awakening, there's the illumination, there's this like, you get your wings to kind of escape the dumpster fire, you know, like there's an escape route from maybe what has previously felt binding. The Devil is ultimately a liberation from something that had you stuck. There's the awakening. There's the awakening towards, okay, what wants to come next? Okay, Five of Swords is, and the Ten of Cups is what fell on the floor. I was waiting to see when it came into play because it feels like it's much later. It feels like it's much more in the future, because to me, the Ten of Cups is an experience of like emotional peace, harmony. You know, we see these like, you can imagine kids around this mud puddle, just like playing in the aftermath of the rain and like finding a way to play and enjoy themselves, even like in the aftermath of the storm. So this could be really relevant, but if so, it's like towards the end of spring, or maybe even just something that we're imagining forward into the future. Because right now it's Five of Swords, Seven of Stones, which is the fight for stability. A willingness to engage in the conflict of realizing what has died, what is no longer serving, what is no longer useful. And taking what you can of what remains in order to fight for something more stable, because we're essentially shifting from this, like the realization of instability or lacking resources, or the resources sort of like falling out from underneath of you or feeling like they could, into a spell for stability, which is like these stones carefully placed on this grid in a way that ensures longevity, that ensures that you'll be able to eat of the fruits of your labor into the future, that there will be something in your savings. Like, I don't know why this is coming through so like economically, financially. I do know why. Because it's what's going on. It's what's going on. Okay. Okay. Well, I don't know if anything else is coming through. This is so major with all of these major arcana cards here, and especially these three in the middle. Yeah, I didn't think there was much else to talk about, and we just got the Justice card in this deck, which is called Intersection. As if to kind of put a button on it and say, if you haven't, if there's been this sort of, it feels like someone's standing on the lips, which are upside down, is like not allowing your voice to be heard, or not allowing you to kind of speak. putting a stop to the speaking. And then they're holding this like mobile, and I just see it like spinning with all these moving parts. Again, it's just showing us this like system that's all sort of hanging on this one like person, this one thread. We need the advice cards from the Poesis Oracle. This reading. The Nine of Swords is surrounded by major arcana. So it is clear to me, Libra, that the main source of stress for you this season is coming from the systems outside of you that are falling, that are like showing signs of collapse, that are, and maybe you are getting this like impulse to speak up, to say something, to do something, because now it's like your stability, the economy, like the sort of longevity is under threat, let alone your like emotional peace and harmony. Okay, what's the advice for Libra this spring season? Okay, that's helpful. Wow, really? Wow. Good Lord. Okay, where do I want to put it? Let's look at the whole damn thing together. This is so much, this reading. So clearly, you know, justice is here twice. This is at the root of it. I do think it's interesting that in the Slow Holler Tarot, justice is called intersection, which is very much a Venus word, which is very much this idea of like where your stuff intersects with other people's stuff, including the society in which you live and the political systems that you live under and are a part of. Okay, so that is very, very much the theme. Even if this is interpersonal, which it could be for some of y'all, but I feel this reading incredibly collectively. And because, look at this, the Nine of Swords is above 4 major arcana cards. Major arcana cards show us the larger picture of things that are happening. And so to me, there is a collective awakening going on this spring based on all of the stressful events that are happening for us socially, politically here in the United States, and I guarantee elsewhere in the world. There's a collective awakening towards justice that is starting to happen, and it's starting to get people off of the edge and out of limbo and into liberation. And that is not a pretty shift, and that is not a comfortable shift, and it's stressing. The things that are going on in your country, in your world, are stressing you out. Like in the news cycle. That's the Nine of Swords, and that's the experience of this spring. You're the first sign to really, really talk about this. I think is interesting. But the justice over here on the left, we're seeing that visionary of stones, that vision of stability, that idea of what we have been building is falling in some way, is starting to kind of fall out from underneath of us. And the star is this guiding spotlight that's illuminating that very clearly and like indisputably. And that's the kind of illumination and clarity and awakening that is needed to move forward in this way, which is Page of Swords, saying what needs to be said, learning how to think about things in a different way, learning how to wield the sword And again, it can be feeling like you're taking something into your own hands, or feeling like, okay, I have to learn how to use this sword, which is the power of my voice and communication, in order to fight for this, in order to not let this continue to free fall. I need to stabilize it. Seven of Stones. I need this to go, I need this to have longevity into the future. And I'm willing to engage in conflict, Five of Swords, Five of Knives, in order to do that. And I keep seeing this like vulture is like, I'm not just gonna let these vultures feed on a dying system. Like, I'm not gonna let that happen. Like, there has to be stability. The net, safety, Seven of Stones. Interesting, I said safety. I almost said safety of stones. The safety net has to hold. It has to be there. So Libra, even if this on a more, let's take it out of the socio-political context for a second and into your personal life. Maybe this is just realizing, oh shit, I need to have a savings account. Or like, okay, I've been spending some money and I need to be putting it away. And that is a stressful realization to have, is that the money you thought you had, you don't, or the stability you thought was there is not. Okay, Page of Swords, I need to say what needs to be said, or like send the email, or like have the meeting, or whatever that is, to make sure that that stability is regained, that safety net is prioritized, so that I can, Ten of Cups, Ten of Vessels, like relax and enjoy my life again, and enjoy my experience again. And then the advice in the whole thing is simplify, practice joy. Which is so much of what a lot of the other readings are getting at this spring, which is like finding the joy where you can. Even if this spring is requiring you to simplify, is requiring you to give some things up and to shed some things and to let go of some things as you kind of like watch them fall out from your life, or watch, that simplification can be an anchor, can actually be like a rock amidst what looks to be pretty intensely chaotic. I love this practice because it sort of shows us an opportunity for you to create your own sense of grounding, safety, and security by leaning into a routine. And that routine could include, or must include, moments of joy. Notice that the three eyes in the awakening is echoing the three eyes in the Sun card, in the joy. There is joy to be had even in this, what looks to be a really wild, intense, stressful, collective and personal moment. You may have to develop practices to find and access and like mentally, emotionally allow yourself to access that joy. But it's like all of this is chaos in the cards, honestly. And then up here, we just have simplify, practice, joy. Keep it simple. When things get wild like this, okay, let's simplify. Let's tighten our routines. Let's seek moments of joy throughout the day. Let's prioritize a more joyful experience so that we have the bandwidth to address these really huge, glaring issues that are showing up in the cards that need to be addressed, talked about, and maybe like that working through that will involve quite a bit of conflict to address these stressors and to address these imbalances, these things that need massive corrections. And again, maybe they're actually like not as big of a correction as you think. It's more of just like a big awakening, reckoning moment in your life that kind of forces you to simplify and to get back into a more like healthy, simpler routine so that you can access that joy in your life. It's so much. And listen, I'm always going to feel these cards at their loudest, at their most intense, because that's how I can hear it. You know, like that's how I get the message. But this could be subtler for you. It might not be this intense and dramatic for you on like a very personal level. But, you know, for some of y'all, it could be. And for us, I think socially, collectively, this looks about right. Okay, Libra. This was a lot. I hope this is helpful for you. If you need a personal reading during the spring season to touch base on what you're going through specifically, you know where to find me. Otherwise, take such good care this spring. Okay, we'll talk soon.